Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here to film part 2 of my quarterly book haul. If you want to see part 1, which contains all of the manga that I purchased in the last quarter, I will leave that linked for you to check out. But there will be no manga in this particular haul. This is strictly books. Some books I was sent from publishers, but most of these I have picked up with my own money. So let's start with the books from the publishers, because they're actually just from one publisher, and then we'll dig into everything else that I bought with my own money. I have reviews for 3 of the 4 of these. I will leave them linked down below for you. So the first one I've got here is The Good Luck Charm by Helena Hunting. This is a sports romance where the main guy was focused on a hockey career, broke up with his girlfriend 7 or 8 years later, something like that. They ran into each other again, sparks fly, they never really got over each other, but is she just a good luck charm to him, or is she really more? Gotta read to find out. Next up we have Memoirs of a Dragon Hunter by Katie McAllister. This is a smutty paranormal romance involving a dragon hunter and a girl who has OCD, and it was a really interesting read. I really enjoyed this, so I highly suggest picking it up if you're looking for some OCD rep in a romance novel. Next up we have the one that I do not currently have a review for, but I have one coming soon, and that is The Paraseamstress by Natasha Lester. I read this mostly during Contemporary-a-thon, this most recent round, but I didn't finish it during Contemporary-a-thon. I finished it up afterwards. But I really enjoyed this read. This deals with 2 timelines. We're dealing with one in World War II era, early 1940s, and then present day. So this is a really fun contemporary that features fashion if you're interested in that. And last but not least, from a publisher, these are all from Forever Romance Books. Thank you again to Forever Romance for the lovely relationship that they've wanted to build with me over the last year or so. I'm really grateful that they reached out to me and we've formed this relationship. I really enjoy the titles they send me. And last but not least is From Here to You by Jamie Maguire. This is a darker contemporary dealing with a woman who's in an abusive relationship who runs away on her wedding day because she finds out she's pregnant. To protect her baby, she runs away from baby daddy, ends up in this hotel working and meets this guy who can't really reveal everything about his job, so they're both hiding things from each other. It's really interesting. If you liked I'm going to talk about those in a minute, but if you like her other titles, you will most likely like this one as well. I really enjoyed it. So next up, I've got 2 more Jamie Maguire books. Those were all that I was sent from Forever Romance. So the rest of these I have purchased with my own money. So these first 2 are Beautiful Disaster and Walking Disaster by Jamie Maguire. In the last book that I mentioned, From Here to You, it mentioned the Maddox brothers, and these are the first 2 books involving Maddox brothers. The first one is from Abby's perspective, and the second one is from Travis's perspective. This is the same story. I feel like when we read Travis's perspective, it flushed out all the holes from Abby's story. So I do think it's imperative to read both of them. But I really enjoyed these. I gave Beautiful Disaster 4 stars and Walking Disaster 4.5 stars. Next up, I might get some flack for even hauling this book, but I'm hauling it anyway. And that is The Rescue by Nicholas Sparks. This is a Nicholas Sparks book that I read years ago and fell in love with, and I've been looking to get a copy for myself for a long time. So they had it on sale, and so I finally picked up a copy. This involves a firefighter and a single mom, and it's just a really beautiful, healing together kind of love story, and I'm a sucker for those kind of stories. So say what you want about Nicholas Sparks, but I really like this one. Next up is probably my favorite read from Contemporary-a-thon, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Wong. This involves Stella, who is on the autism spectrum, mostly Asperger's, and Michael, who it looks like a K-drama star and works as an escort. Stella, who's been feeling pressured by her mother to get married and have children, hires Michael to teach her the ways of romance and physical comfort in a romantic relationship. And their story is so cute, and I love this. If you want to hear me gush about this more, check out my Contemporary-a-thon vlog because I kind of go crazy. This next stack of books, they're all from the same series, so I'm just going to breeze through them really quick. This is the Dark Hunter series by Charlene Kenyon. This is a long-running paranormal smutty romance series that I have recently become a huge sucker for, and you'll see by the amount of books that I'm going to show you. So first up we have Dark Side of the Moon, The Dream Hunter, Devil May Cry, Upon the Midnight Clear, Dream Chaser, Acheron, which is a 5-star read. It is so good. It's so long, but so good. One Silent Night, Dream Warrior, Bad Moon Rising, and No Mercy. So as you can see, this world is very extensive. You can really play around a lot in this world. So if you're looking for a long-running series, this is definitely one to check out. The smut is good. It's not necessarily quantity of smut, it's quality of smut. I've had discussions about this. If you want a more in-depth discussion, let me know in the comments down below. But yes, anyways, let's move into some fantasy books, shall we? I take that back. I'm going to start with 2 that are not real fast. So the first one is Awakening Your Ikigai, How the Japanese Wake Up to Joy and Purpose Every Day. I am not a morning person. I'm hoping this book will give me some tips on how to become more of a morning person. It might not, but either way, I think it's just going to be a really good read. This is definitely a nonfiction self-help style book, and I'm looking forward to digging into it. Next up, my friend Bethany over at Beautifully Bookish Bethany was kind enough to send on an ARC to me, and that is Mammoth by Jill Bogachinsky, is how I want to say the last name. I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it up before I delve more into it. But this comes out in the next couple weeks. I plan on reading it as soon as I finish my current read. And this is about a plus-size girl and involves the STEM program and all sorts of really cool things. So I am really excited to dig into it. Now let's dig into the fantasy books. So the first one I've got here is actually my last Page Habit book. As you guys know, Page Habit is no more. They ran into some issues and decided to close down very suddenly. But the last box that I got from them contained The Bird and the Blade by Megan Bannon. This is a Asian-inspired fantasy. I believe it's a loose Mulan retelling. Not 100% sure, don't quote me on that. But I know it's an Asian-inspired fantasy, and I am really looking forward to digging into this. I do know this is YA, so it'll fly fast when I'm ready for it. But I've been kind of scaling back from YA a little bit. I think I'm about ready to dig into it again. But anyways, that's a long tangent we don't need to go on right now. But The Bird and the Blade by Megan Bannon was my last Page Habit book. Next up, we have one of my favorite reads of the summer, and that is My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. These Janey books are just hilarious. They poke fun at the entire genre. This has paranormal elements to it. It is so fun. I read it during Booktubeathon as a audiobook as I drove down to Vegas with my mom. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed. Next up is one I haven't read yet, and that is Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is an adult fantasy. I don't really know too much about it. I know all my friends who love fantasy have read it and really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to digging into this one soon. Next, we have 2 books in the same series. First up, we have Duskfall by Christopher Husberg, and then we have Dark Immolation by Christopher Husberg. So we have book 1 and book 2 relatively. I do have a full review on Duskfall. I will leave that linked for you. And yeah, so Dark Immolation is book 2. These are dark fantasy. They're really good. I really enjoyed it. It has lots of Jason Bourne elements as well, which I found really intriguing. Sorry, my battery was about to die, so had to take care of that real quick. The next book on this list is The Midnight Queen by Sylvia Ezo Hunter. I'm going to read the top little blurb on the back just to kind of give you a rough idea. In the hallowed halls of Oxford's Merlin College, the most talented and highest born sons of the Kingdom of Britain are taught the intricacies of magical theory. But what dazzles can also destroy, as Gray Marshall is about to discover. So we're dealing with music school and a queen coming into things. Really am looking forward to it. It's not a super long one, and it's not one I hear a lot of people talk about, but I read the full description on the back, and it really intrigued me, so I'm definitely going to be picking this one up sooner rather than later. Probably here in October. The next book was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that was Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I know this has had polarizing reviews, but I ended up really enjoying this, but I also didn't go into it comparing it to Uprooted. I did it as its own story. I thoroughly enjoyed my read of this. I have a review of it. I will leave it linked for you, and you can get my full thoughts there. Next up, we have a book that I didn't really love and actually DNF'd, but I'm possibly considering picking up again, and that is Fox by Nadine Brands. There was a historical element that was easily Googleable that was making a huge play in the story, and I didn't really like how lazy the author was because of that. No offense, Nadine Brands, I just thought it was lazy, but I haven't fully decided if I'm going to keep this and finish reading it or not. So if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below and tell me why I should read it, because I love the premise of the story. This very much highly involves Guy Fawkes and his son and that whole piece of history. And so I really would love to play in the sandbox and read this, but at the same time, I kind of can't get over that lazy thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly sensitive to it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. All right, guys, we're almost done. I've got a series of books here, and then I've got 2 more books, and then we're done. So this actually isn't too long, all things considered, but I haven't spent a ton of time talking about any of them. So going back to the books I was sent by Forever Romance, Katie McAllister has another series involving her dragons from the Dragon Hunter series, and so I picked those up, and I've really enjoyed what I've read of them so far. I read Dragonfall, which is the first book. I'm currently reading Dragonstorm, and then the third book is Dragon Soul. These are really fun, again, paranormal smutty romances. She loves to write quirky women, and I really like the women that she writes because they're all strong in their own right. And so it makes it really, really fun to read from the characters' perspectives. And last but not least, I have fallen down a rabbit hole I probably shouldn't have, and that is the Tessa Dare rabbit hole. Thank you, BookTube. And thank you, The Duchess Deal, because this was the first Tessa Dare book I ever read. I'm now a huge fan of Tessa Dare. This is a hilarious bodice ripper romance, and if you're looking for something just kind of fluffy, these are definitely going to be candy to you, because oh my gosh, these are so funny. I was in fits of giggles reading these books. Like, they just crack me up. Her wit and her humor make these such fun. Like, I can't get over it. And so the other physical copy that I have is The Governess Game. Again, it's in the Girl Meets Duke series, just like the Duchess Deal. And I got a bunch of her books on my Kindle as well. I might do a Kindle run through, like what's on my Kindle kind of video coming up here soon, because I don't really talk about what I get on my Kindle very often except in wrap-ups. So anyways, yes, The Governess Game is the next physical copy Tessa Dare I plan on picking up. So guys, that is my book haul. It was massive. I hope you guys made it through the whole thing. If you did, kudos to you. And hi, I'm Shay. Welcome if you're new. If you like what you saw on my channel today, please hit that subscribe button and click the little bell icon so that you know when to come hang out with me. Thanks again for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.